Throughout human history are reports and accounts of people from different places, cultures and traditions who describe profound direct experiences of a deep personal encounter or union with the transcendent or divine, with the hidden ultimate reality, with all that is. These experiences have been called mystical since the 19th century. They occur spontaneously or can be provoked through different techniques, such as fasting, postural and breathing exercises, sustained meditation, sleep, sensory deprivation, and of course, through the consumption of psychedelic substances such as psilocybin mushrooms, ayahuasca, and LSD. The first influential researcher to investigate the core qualities of mystical experience was the American philosopher and psychologist William James. He was a Harvard researcher working in the late 1800s, analysing all the major mystical texts from around the world. Yet James went far beyond the textbooks and personally experimented with psychedelic substances such as mescaline, the ingredient in peyote, and nitrous oxide, the so-called laughing gas. James famously defined 4 basic characteristics of the mystical experience. 1. The experiences are ineffable and cannot be captured in language or described in simple words. 2. People who have mystical experiences acquire profound realizations about existence and the self, which they cannot explain through rational thought processes. 3. The experiences are transient and ephemeral and occur only for a short period of time. And 4. The individual is a passive recipient and is not in control of the experience. In 1962, when psychedelic substances were being reintroduced to modern Western civilization, minister and psychiatrist Dr. Walter Pahnke conducted the famous Good Friday experiment in the Marsh Chapel of Boston University. During the experiment, 20 participants who had no previous experience with psychedelics were randomly administered psilocybin, the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms, or another substance with a placebo effect. Pahnke wanted to discover if psychedelic substances can actually induce mystical experiences. He created a mysticism measurement scale consisting of the 9 most distinctive characteristics of mystical experiences. The first 4 measurements are identical with William James's findings, and the other 5 include the transcendence of space-time, a sense of sacredness, a deeply felt positive mood, a positive transformation in attitude and behavior, and a sense of paradox. In Pahnke's experiment, those who took the psilocybin rated the intensity of the 9 core qualities of mystical experiences much higher than those who took the placebo. This led to the conclusion that psychedelic experiences can certainly resemble mystical experiences depending on environmental conditions and the psychological preparation of the participants. 25 years after the study, psychedelic researcher Rick Doblin interviewed the same participants and reported that everyone who was given psilocybin described their experience as having elements of a genuine mystical nature and one of the high points of their spiritual life. Between the 1960s and the 1990s, it was very difficult for researchers to get permission to administer psychedelic substances to people. This was due to the clash between the psychedelic counterculture and mainstream society in the 1960s. Yet, in the 1990s, psychiatrist and practicing Buddhist Dr. Rick Strassman managed to open the research doors back up and gave 400 doses of the powerful psychedelic substance DMT to 40 healthy individuals over a 5-year period at the University of New Mexico. DMT is the psychedelic molecule found in the Amazonian shamanic brew ayahuasca. The individuals who received DMT described their experiences in ways that are deeply mystical, leading Dr. Rick Strassman to describe DMT as the spirit molecule. In the early 2000s, a study from Johns Hopkins University conducted another experiment with psilocybin to study its mystical and medical effects. The results were consistent with the Good Friday experiment, showing a correlation between classic mystical experiences and psychedelic experiences. In addition, more than half of the participants rated their psychedelic sessions as one of the top 5 most important experiences in their lives. The experiment also discovered long-term positive changes in behavior and mood, as well as an increased sense of well-being and satisfaction, lasting for at least 2 months after one mystical dose of psilocybin. For hundreds and even thousands of years, pagans and heretics in Western civilization were punished for practicing their spiritual traditions. In the 21st century, a similar scenario is taking place for people who take psychedelic substances to support their spiritual path. Yet, with pioneering organizations such as MAPS, the Beckley Foundation, and the Hefter Institute all legally opening the psychedelic doors of mystical experience in mainstream society, the psychedelic light of day is once again rising across Western civilization.